Cutting across to breaking news that's coming in, the Supreme Court has now issued a notice to the centre on a plea that's been filed against Section 377. And keep in mind, this development comes months after the top court agreed to review Section 377. Now, we understand that the centre's response has been sought in a matter of 1 week. The centre will have to clarify on exactly what its stand is as far as doing away with Section 377 is concerned. Let's go across to Nalini Sharma for the latest on this. Nalini, a notice being issued to the centre. The centre will have to clarify on exactly what its stand is on Section 377 in a matter of a week.
Absolutely. In fact, this is coming while another petition regarding the same aspect, regarding Section 377 and the challenge to it, is pending before a constitutional bench of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had agreed to hear this petition, and now this petition filed by Hotelier Keshav Suri is also going to be heard along with that petition. But at the same time, the Supreme Court has gone ahead, issued notice on this particular petition as well. The central government to file a response within 1 week, which unequivocally means that the Supreme Court is going to be considering this issue on whether or not Section 377 that deals with homosexuality as well as unnatural sex should in fact be quashed, whether or not it is violative of fundamental rights of the Indian citizens. And that's exactly what Keshav Suri is stating in his petition, that when the talk is about an act between two consenting adults, then this particular law, Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, cannot be applied because it's violative of fundamental rights of the Indian citizens. So within 1 week is when the central government is expected to respond before the Supreme Court. To know then what the Supreme Court actually proceeds.
This is a big legal development that we will be tracking closely in a week's time. As Nalini pointed out, the Supreme Court, the centre will have to respond to the Supreme Court's notice on Section 377. Nalini, thanks for joining us with those details. Continuing to get you the latest on what's happening in the top court as far as Section 377 is concerned. The top court has now issued a notice to the centre, and the centre will have to respond in a week's time on exactly what its stand is on doing away with Section 377. Keep in mind, this development comes months after the Supreme Court also made it clear that it is willing to review Section 377. This after several pleas had gone to the Supreme Court. But based on a hotelier's PIL this time around, the top court has issued a notice to the centre. Let's go across to our legal correspondent Nalini for more on this. Nalini, now that the Supreme Court has issued a notice to the centre, once and for all possibly we will have some sort of clarity on exactly what the government stand is as far as Section 377 goes.
Absolutely. In fact, this is coming while another petition on the same issue of challenge to Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code is pending before the constitutional bench of the Supreme Court. The constitutional bench is going to take up this case as soon as the Aadhaar case is wrapped up by the constitutional bench. And in the meantime, we're actually seeing another plea filed on the same aspect before the top court, where we have a hotelier, Keshav Suri, actually challenging this particular provision, asking for it to be declared unconstitutional because it is violative of the fundamental rights of the Indian citizens. That's exactly what Keshav Suri is stating before the top court. And now the Supreme Court has gone ahead and issued a notice to the central government. What they basically want is for the central government to respond to this particular plea and put forth their points on exactly what they think should be done with Section 377, whether or not it should be quashed, whether or not it should be declared unconstitutional. Within 1 week time has been granted to the central government to actually file their response on this particular plea. In 1 week, we can expect the central government to actually file a response before the Supreme Court, after which we will see exactly how the Supreme Court actually plans on taking this case further, because there is already another case pending with the constitutional bench. It is likely that both of these cases will be heard together because the central government is also a party in the already pending case. But within 1 week, the big development coming is that within 1 week, the central government will provide its stand on Section 377 as well as homosexuality and unnatural sex before the top court of the country. We will have to wait and watch exactly what the central government says in this regard.
You know, for the LGBT community, this is a big development that's taken place, Nalini, because just a few months ago, we also have to keep in mind that the Supreme Court agreed to go ahead and review its Section 377 ruling. So keeping that in mind, and now with this fresh plea as well, we'll have to wait and watch to see exactly what the centre's stand is. And in a week's time, they're expected to respond to the Supreme Court. Nalini, thanks for getting us those details.